Hey, how's it going? My name's Legit Logic, and in this video I'm going to be doing something a little different because I'm going to be talking about something nobody, at least no one I've seen, has talked about before. The meta of competitive Season 6. Now before I start, I want to thank Arctic for the wonderful footage you're watching. I thought if I'm going to do a discussion video, then why do I have to use my low quality footage? I can just ask someone to record some for me, and he did that for me, and that is amazing. And also I'd like to thank Diamond Level Hero for the absolutely fabulous thumbnail you can see in this video. Links to both of their channels in the description. And one quick thing, you should join my Discord because I'm like always on it and you can get in touch with me really easy. Alright, let's start. First, I'd like to clarify why I said Season 6. That is because Season 5 ends on August 28th and we get half a week of off-season. So that means Season 6 is going to be starting on the 1st of September. And why this is Season 6 is also because the patch went live with Doomfist and all of the buffs and stuff like that. It went live a few days ago, and usually the PTR patch goes up like a week or two after the patch goes live. And PTR patches stay on the PTR for usually on average 3 weeks. And Season 6 starts in 3.5 weeks, so I'm expecting PTR patch to go live in the next half week. That's going to include Junkrat and Roadhog and Orisa buffs. Alright, so the first hero that I need to cover is obviously Doomfist. Now, Doomfist can be thought of as a dive hero, but the problem with him is that he is pretty bad at killing a lot of people or fighting against multiple enemies at once. A better role for Doomfist is actually peeling. What that is, not many people know this term, is when you protect your supports by eliminating flankers that try to take them out. Doomfist is, I would argue, the best dueling hero in the game, but he's also pretty bad at fighting many people at once, because he's close quarters, and if a lot of people are close to him, he can't really kill them all, since he doesn't have much AoE. So he would be more effective in the back line. Now, while I'm talking about Doomfist, I'd like to talk about the Doomfist and Zarya synergy. This is absolutely amazing. Not only their ultimate, but when Doomfist starts getting in on the enemy team, I guess he is okay at flanking if they're spread out. That's where his strength is. He would get bubbled by Zarya, and pretty much when people try to shoot him, he would not take damage, and Zarya would get energy from that. And I'll talk about Zarya in a second. And also, their ultimates are like made for each other. It is amazing. You Meteor Strike and then grab and then Meteor Strike down on the grab. You can kill almost everyone in it. Now, talking about Zarya. Why Zarya wasn't meta in Season 5 is because she's pretty bad with dive comp. The problem with her is, well, there's two problems with her, actually. The heroes that were played a lot, like dive heroes like Genji and Tracer and heroes like that and mobile heroes, when she used Graviton, they have abilities that are really easy to escape the Graviton with. The dash or blink or any of that. A lot of dive heroes were mobile, obviously, so they would have abilities to get out. But now that Graviton disables all of those abilities, it's actually become like really strong against all those dive heroes. And because when she gets high energy is when she is most powerful to deal damage, the dive heroes could just run away from her and shoot her from a distance, and she wouldn't be able to do anything because she can't chase them down. Alright, now that we've covered that, I want to mention Reinhardt, who got some nice buffs that would increase his overall potential in dealing damage. Not only the 10% damage buff, but also hit scan, like the swing scanning registering better, and the fixed fire strike hitbox would make his DPS, that's the 3-word acronym I'm looking for. His DPS potential a lot better, so he's going to be a lot more viable, and we might be seeing usage of him in the Season 6 meta, but I wouldn't be too sure of that. I keep hearing this word, Death Ball, and what that is just a Reinhardt with a tank standing next to him, 2 DPS behind him, and 2 supports in the back, often seen in the pro scene. And honestly, I don't really agree with it. Now, moving on, Roadhog, who's definitely is going to get a defensive buff on the PTR in the next few days. I don't know, he's pretty weak still, but he would be better as a tank than as a DPS now that his hook isn't as OP. But the thing is that his healing when he's moving and he's taking less damage is going to be a lot more effective, which is adding to his self-sustain, which is going to come into effect in a little bit. Now, also Junkrat is going to get some neat buffs with 2 charges to Concussion Blast, also increasing his usability and making him pretty viable pick. Now he like before he got his not taking any damage buff, he sucked. He was not meta at all. But now he's actually okay at dueling like close range. Like you get in their face, you spam 2 bombs or bomb and concussion blast, and they're dead. But now that you have 2 concussion blasts, you can deal a lot more damage. Also, McCree. Okay, moving on to McCree. McCree's buff this last patch was his flashbang. What it does is it shuts down enemy momentum, especially if they're in the air or sliding on the ground. Let's say Genji uses his jump and he's flying to the side. If McCree flashbanged him, he would continue the arc of the jump and land where he would have previously landed, even if he wasn't flashbanged. But now, when you flashbang him and he's in the air, he stops and falls straight down, which makes it a lot easier to land that headshot or fan the hammer and kill him. So that's going to make McCree a lot better at killing those mobile heroes that are sliding around, like Lucio too, because when you flashbanged Lucio, he would slide off to the side, and you'd still have to, like, it's almost as hard to hit him as if he was moving and not stunned. So that's going to make him more viable in one of the DPS picks for the next meta. Now, Orisa, we don't know what buffs she's getting, at least at the time of recording this. Maybe, like, Jeff posts something on the forums a half hour after I'm done with recording this right now as I'm talking. But she is really specialized, and I don't think she's going to be getting a lot of use. Like, she's okay on defense if you use her right, and if you have people hiding behind her, but not too many people since it's not that big, not as big as Reinhardt's. Plus, like, she has to, she locks down. It's like she's an anchor tank, right? So she can't really be as effective as Reinhardt on attack, so I don't think she's gonna come back to the meta, not now, and I don't know if ever, really, because she's, like, really specialized. She's almost like Symmetra. And I'd also like to say that if we get usage of Reinhardt, then we might see Pharah, but the way D.Va is right now, she's really strong with her defense matrix and all. I don't know, like, why would you pick Pharah if the enemy team would just pick D.Va and kill you? So Pharah's probably not going to get used as much unless you're at really low levels and the enemy team don't want to counter pick or any of that. Alright, so now that I've covered all the heroes, I want to get to the conclusion. Now, this is going to be kind of a tank meta, and dare I say, the return of triple tank, because our viable tanks right now are going to be Zarya and Reinhardt and D.Va. Roadhog might or might not come back depending on how good his buffs are. We can't even try them out on the PTR just yet, but it should be coming in the next few days, I'm telling you. And Orisa, I honestly don't think she's going to do much. But for DPS, the best heroes are going to be McCree. Reaper's in a pretty good position right now, so I would say he is a good DPS pick too. Soldier, of course, always meta, always will be. Junkrat, surprisingly, because tearing down enemy barriers if you're playing against a Reinhardt would be very, very helpful to your team, because a Reinhardt without a shield is like a squishy. His hitbox is so big, it's really easy to kill him. And of course, Doomfist, because people love Doomfist. I love Doomfist. I'm a Doomfist main now, by the way. He's the most fun hero ever. He's amazing. But the problem with Doomfist is that you need to wait for duels. Don't really jump in against a lot of enemies unless you have a lot of teammates jumping in, or yeah, that's pretty much it. And healing. Now, healing is kind of the funny part here. The thing is that if we see a triple tank meta, we might be able to pull off a standard 2 healer, like 1 burst healer, 1 slow healer. Like, burst healers are Ana and Mercy, and then slow healers are Zenyatta and Lucio. Because that would be enough, because look at what I've listed so far. Zarya and Roadhog both have wonderful self-sustain. Zarya regenerates her shields, And Roadhog, if he's going to take less damage and move around, he's going to be able to heal himself all the time really easy. Plus, he has a pretty low cooldown on it. I believe it's 8 seconds. I got to check. I'll put it on screen if I'm right or not. And the DPSs, Reaper and Soldier, both have pretty good self-healing. So I don't really think that triple tank would require Ana and Mercy like it did before. Like, Anna's not as great now, but she's in a pretty good position. She's really balanced, and I don't think any changes to her are going to be coming anytime soon. So healers are going to really depend on your situation, but you are going to want at least one burst healer, which is Ana or Mercy, if you are running triple tank. Or like double tank, anyway, like, because I guess that would work. Okay, I want to talk about Deathball, though. Why I don't think Deathball is going to be the next meta, because Reinhardt is good, but it's like his last changes were a buff. Yes, they were a buff, but they were kind of a fix. Plus, they added to his damage potential, and Reinhardt's main use is as a tank. He's not like Roadhog, like, oh, he's a tanky DPS. No, Reinhardt is a tank, and if you give him more damage, that's not necessarily going to make him much better, because that's not what he's supposed to do. He's going to be better at brawling, but I don't really know about that. I think we're just going to see triple tank with Zarya, Roadhog, and D.Va, maybe Orisa. Oh, and Winston's going to suck, by the way, because, like, all of his counters are out now, especially Reaper and Doomfist and Junkrat. Those are going to be pretty big. So, yeah, man, I think your Overwatch might be wrong, but we'll just have to wait and see as competitive Season 6 starts on Friday, the 1st of September. So yeah, I think that's all I need to cover. So hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time.